Hi, and welcome to Habits for Humans, the podcast that explores what makes people tick and how to program this brain of ours and honestly, this body of ours to do what we want it to do. I'm so excited about our guests today. We've got Carla and David. Help me pronounce your last name correctly because I want to say Meine.
That's correct.
That's correct. Yay, I got it right. So Carla and David Meine, as I say it wrong the second time. And they're going to talk to us about how Carla helped her husband heal and reverse a bunch of health conditions. So really quickly, disclaimer up front, we are not claiming that this is the right path for you. We're also not claiming that we are doctors or anything like that. But what I love about their story is they're saying you actually can cure inflammation in the body and you can work with your doctor. There's a lot you can do at home. There's a lot you can do with your diet to help get through significant health challenges. So I'm super excited to talk to them today and hear their whole story. So we'll introduce them in just a second. We do have a gift. We actually have two gifts for our listeners at the end. Carla and David are giving away a free copy of their book, so definitely check that out. That's a very generous give from them. And we have a free gift from our sponsor, Card Salad, as well. So a word from our sponsor, Habits for Humans, is brought to you by Card Salad. It's a health and wellness company that teaches you how to program your brain using systems and habits. So you know how everyone wants to eat healthy, but you end up not meal planning because it's such a pain in the rear. It is. It takes hours a week. So instead of doing that, we oftentimes resort to chicken nuggets, frozen pizza. you know your daily go-tos, right? Those easy, quick meals that are really not good for you, and you know it. And not to guilt you or shame you, but meal planning is a pain. And so what we've done at Card Salad is actually create a done-for-you meal planning system. So let me show it to you in 2 seconds. It is a board that you hang on your fridge with recipes that come delivered to your door, so you never have to meal plan. You always know what's for dinner every day. And then, of course, it comes with a shopping list, so that's all done for you. And then it comes with habit cards, so you can build those habits to last a lifetime. So stay tuned for a free week of meal planning done for you at the end of this podcast, and that's a gift from our sponsor, Card Salad. All right, so I'd love to introduce Carla and David Meine to you. They are the co-founders of multiple successful companies focused on health and wellness with a blended family of 7 children. God bless you for that. 7 children and 18 grandchildren. They are passionate about sharing their knowledge, their story, and experience to help others transform their health. Carla is CEO and certified functional nutrition counselor at Eating to Live. And David is a speaker, author, and experienced career entrepreneur with a long list of highly successful ventures. As a cancer survivor who has overcome multiple additional health challenges, his mission, and I want to add Carla's as well, to help others achieve optimal health. And their mission is very personal to them for very good reason. So let's start out, Carla and David. I'd love to hear from both of you. What is your number one habit to manage your own mental wellness? Because that's all we're talking about here in 2021, right? Go ahead and share that.
I think the best one for me is I just start the day with prayer and meditation, and I look to create, in that time that I spend there is create what I'm going to accomplish for the day. And so I try to keep it really positive and it's spiritual, and it's, it focuses on the values that I maintain and the things that are so important to me. So that's probably my number one.
I love it, Carla. So I have to ask you more questions about that because everyone has a different version of meditation. And I really am interested in what works for you. And also, I wonder if behind the scenes in that statement that you were just saying, if you weren't saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, I get business guidance in that meditation. And what I'm doing in business is prayerful and meditative as well. And don't let me put words in your mouth. Tell me if that's true for you.
No, it's exactly true. I mean, I'll give you one example. We were going to do this list of the 10 traits, characteristics and things that we saw that we had developed for David and me too for our health. And in that meditation one morning, I clearly saw that it had to be 4 levels, and level 1 was this, and level 2 was this, level 3. It was clear, and I ran into the office, and I got on the whiteboard, and I wrote it all out, and when David woke up, I go, "You gotta go in the office and see what I created, because it's completely it shifted like a 180 from what we were thinking we were going to do." And then our the person that was helping us write the book said, "I love it. We're going to level people up. They're going to level up." And she just had a lot of fun with it. And it's turned out to be exactly what we needed to do. And that came from that personal meditation. Now I do a breathing, and that's how I get into that state. For me is I do a 10 count, breathe in, 10 count, hold, 10 count, breathe out, and then relax. And so I try to clear my mind, and that's really hard for us type A personalities to clear our mind. So
Love it.
that really works for me if I focus on my breathing, and then I try to not think of things, to just see what comes into my mind.
I love it. As a anti I don't know, anti-intuitive, counterintuitive as this sounds. I think for business owners, business is almost like our religion. If our religion is what brings us to God, business so frequently brings us to that spiritual place. It's bizarre and true, and I love it. So thanks for sharing. Thanks for also sharing specifics of 10 breaths, hold 10 breaths. I love that. David, let's hear from you. What is your number one habit to manage your own mental wellness?
I focus on my why every day. So, for example, the thing that got me through my health crisis from 2014 through 2020 was just focusing on that at 95 years old, I want to celebrate my 50th anniversary with Carla. I want to be lucid. I want to be able to go out on the dance floor and dance with her. And underneath that really strong why, I have multiple whys of things that I want to accomplish and do. And so I pretty much review my whys each day and look at what my hows, my whats that come from that why. And that has helped me really develop amazing habits to help me to be a much more calm, focused. And really, my whole thing is from that, I've learned how to love, share, and invite people into what we're doing to help people achieve optimal health.
I love that. So as you say that, from 2014 to 2020, that's 6 years of fighting significant health challenges. So on a personal note, my mom has cancer. She's had it for years. It is grueling. It is the constant battle of up, down, good news, bad news. Maybe there's hope, maybe there's not. Like it's grueling. So 6 years of that. Tell us your story, whoever wants to tell it, and how you started to pull out of that.
It's when you get that diagnosis. When I went in for this bladder issue, and the doctor put in the scope and got in my bladder, and I just remember him saying, 1, 2, 3, there's 3 tumors embedded in the bladder wall. And you all immediately go, what does that mean? Because we had a friend's dad that just had died from bladder cancer. And once that cancer goes through, those tumors go through the bladder wall, you're known as the walking dead. And I luckily had a symptom. And then we started this 2 years of, I ended up with 21 tumors, 3 surgeries, 2 rounds of chemo. And we thought we were working on things to help fight the cancer. In reality, we were doing the absolute worst things. And then in 2018, something happened and we found some more information. Then all of a sudden we started on this path of really learning why I had a leaky gut and why things were going through into the bloodstream and causing inflammation. And ultimately, I had a compromised immune system that caused arthritis and neuropathy in my feet. And I had been diagnosed with colitis and Crohn's. And I could go on. And I was on 5 medications and 5 over-the-counter medications. And so I was just this mess. And then in 2020, we were sitting there locked down with COVID. And Carla says, you know what? I think I'm going to get a functional nutrition degree because we had been working with some amazing doctors. And we talked about me writing this book, Eating to Live, Unlocking the Leaky Gut Code. And since then, I've gotten off of all medications, all over the counter medications. I've right sized and gone from 204 pounds down to 177 pounds, which is what I weighed in high school. And my AC1's dropped. My every single metric has improved dramatically. I had 5 times greater chance of having a heart attack. Those have gone back to normal. And so, honestly, Kim, I am a walking miracle. And thanks to this beautiful woman next to me, she's helped me get to where I am today.
I love, Carla, that you said, this is ridiculous, or this is painful, or tell me what you said, because I've got to do something on my own. I can't just rely on doctors to come and fix me. That's not how medicine works, right? Medicine is a practice. They're doing the best they can, but it's not like guaranteed I will go to a doctor and they will fix me. That's not how it works. And so you took matters into your own hands and you said, I've got to figure out some education for myself to help. Tell me about that process.
Well, I've always been interested in nutrition, and I've always thought of going back to school and getting a degree in it, but it never worked out. And all my other companies, it seemed like it would be a great idea. And so when I decided again, I was like, I need more education on this, because all the doctors want to do is just keep doing surgeries and keep doing medications and there's got to be something I can do. One thing that happens when you're the caregiver, when somebody gets diagnosed with cancer, is you feel like, what can I do? Like you're like, I don't know what to do. And everything is about their cancer. And like you said, it's all consuming and the conversations are all around the cancer. And I thought, I need to do something. I can't just sit by anymore. And so I found online this degree called functional nutrition, which I'd never heard of. What I love about functional nutrition is it doesn't sit there and say one size fits all, that this is exactly how you eat. It says you are the scientist, your body is the lab experiment, and you need to go figure out what foods are causing you inflammation. Because if you remove the foods that are causing you inflammation, then your body's immune system can do its job. And what it will do is will repair and heal. You may not have all the success that you want because there's genetics involved and you may have done too much damage and there's things that are out of the control. But just with what we've seen with David and some of my other clients, we've seen remarkable results when people remove the inflammatory foods from their diet, add in the foods that are nutritious and good for them, and see what the body's immune system can really do. And so that's what I love about functional nutrition is it's not one size fits all. It's very much figuring out what gets rid of the inflammation for you.
I love that. So that's my favorite quote so far. Functional nutrition. You are the scientist. Your body is the lab experiment. Essentially the same thing that doctors are doing with us, right?
Mhm.
Like we're a lab experiment when we go into the doctor, and it's usually too late to do preventative at that point. And you're talking about let's take care of it on a different level. Tell me more about how functional nutrition is different than other types of nutrition, because I of nutritionist degrees or whatever, because I don't know the
Right.
difference.
Well, most people have a dietitian type degree, and that will focus on if someone has diabetes, you put them on this program. And if someone has an autoimmune condition, you put them on this program. And someone's having a weight issue, you put them on this. And it's just, they're really rigid is the best way I can describe it. What I love about functional nutrition is it's very fluid. And most times in functional nutrition, we start with a saying called "clear the muddy waters." So that's my professor Andrea would always say, you got to clear the muddy waters. You can't do anything to help them unless they've first eliminated the foods that are causing the most destruction in their body. So most likely it's almost always sugar. So they have to remove the sugar. Most likely it's gluten. Dairy is a big culprit. We remove chicken and eggs and beef or meats initially. And so we go, level 1 is an elimination protocol. And that means that you take out those foods that are most likely causing inflammation. And most people can tell. They start feeling better, their indigestion goes away, their bowel movements improve, their skin issues go away, headaches go away, brain fog goes away. So they know. And then we say level 2 is we're going to add poultry and eggs back in, but one at a time and see how they do. And then level 3 is add meats. And then level 4 is add dairy back in. And one at a time, watch how you're doing because you're the lab experiment and you're keeping a journal to see what foods are causing you grief. And then you remove those. You do or don't, but if you remove those, you'll find that your health improves.
Wow. Thanks for laying that out for us. So David, will you walk us through when you went on this diet, how long were you in each stage and what was your body complaining about? What were the things that you were like, okay, I can't add that piece back in?
So one thing I want to point out is here I am. I've solved all these issues, but I'm only in remission. And the reason being is if I add back the foods and beverages that I used to do, my neuropathy, that pain in my feet comes back. My arthritis will start acting up. Things will act up and potentially my bladder cancer, which is never 100% cured, could come back. So when we cleared the muddy waters, what we found out is I had a gluten insensitivity. We found out that I'm a sugar addict, right? I've always, I was raised on sugar, right?
Okay.
Everything was sugar. And, one of my favorite things was a bear claw with the drippy ice, the glaze dripping off of it, eating, and it's running down my face.
So,
And
so watch the passion that comes out when you're talking about
I'd eat a half a gallon of ice cream every night,
Every night.
And it was just killing my health. And the problem is, you can kind of put up with it in your 20s and 30s, but you hit your 40s and 50s like me, and all of a sudden you have these serious health consequences. And then ultimately we found out that I had 30 food sensitivities that were getting through my gut and into my bloodstream. And then the immune system's going, oh my gosh, that's not supposed to be there. And the crazy thing, Kim, is this. I took prebiotics, probiotics. I took these things that I thought would make my gut healthy, and they didn't work. And the reason they didn't work is because I had opened all these junctures in the villi and the small intestine that aren't supposed to be open, and it's letting bacteria and these food particles into the bloodstream. Then the immune system says, you're in inflammation mode. We're causing inflammation because that's how we fight. And then my immune system was compromised. And then what was so amazing is I was so sick and had all these problems. And once we started removing these foods, now for me, I had to be 100% gluten-free.
Brutal.
I couldn't be 80-20. We tried it. We tried 90-10. And when I finally went 100% and took the sugar out, all of a sudden, my health just started improving. That inflammation went down. And now my immune system, like when I got COVID this year in February of 2021, our doctor that we work with that does restorative medicine, he told Carla and I, if you follow this plan, if you get COVID, it'll be probably very mild. And for me, it was just like getting the flu. Carla got it, and it was just like a cold. And now we have the antibodies, and we did great. We didn't know that until we did a test that said that we had the antibodies, and then we were like, oh my gosh, we didn't know we had COVID, and we
Wow.
had.
Wow.
And our immune system fought it.
That's awesome. So talk to me more about what that actually looked like for you, like the schedule. And then how did you go? Because everything we do in habits is like gentle, slow habits. But when you have cancer and neuropathy and Crohn's disease, you have my blessed permission to do things more drastically, right? And say, okay, we need to really do something, almost treating your diet as a medical treatment, right?
It's
So
non-negotiable.
It is. Some things are non-negotiable. And the thing is we also wanted to figure out how to get off the medications. My Lyrica was $700 a month.
Wow.
And so the key is it really was one step at a time. We started in May of 2018, and we continued to get this knowledge and this experience. And it was just amazing that as my pain level went down, and I looked at Carla, I remember to the day, October 18, 2018, I was at a normal 8 to a 10 every day in pain, even with all the drugs, Cymbalta, Lyrica, Lortab, everything I was doing, NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatories like Advil, ibuprofen, naproxen. I'm taking all this stuff. I'm still in pain. And I remember I had taken the NSAIDs out. And on October 18th, I went from an 8 down to a 4 and was like that. And then a year and a half later, I dropped down to a 2 and a 1. And now I'm hardly ever any pain.
Wow. Okay, so I love that you said it wasn't instant though. Like you said, it was pretty
No,
quick to drop to a 4.
one step at a
A
time.
year to a year and a half of eating really clean, really good foods that you were able to get rid of all of the pain. I love that message because it shows you it's not going to be overnight. Like your body does do things slowly. How long until when you drop from the level 8 to 10, which I can't even imagine on a daily basis, the quality of life that is, that's brutal. How long did it take to get from there to a 4 in pain?
So that was over 3 months to
3
go
months.
from that because I took NSAIDs out
Mhm.
and it started improving my diet. And then it was that next year of, can I be 80-20? Can I be 90-10? And then really we hit January of 2020. And I finally, after meeting with this restorative health doctor, I finally made the commitment.
100%.
Sorry.
You're good.
When I finally made that decision to be all in, my life completely changed. I had such bad brain fog. My family thought I had the onset of dementia, and I was struggling. And when I really got the gluten out 100%, knocked that sugar way down, and Carla's a gourmet. She's created 108 recipes for us to eat. All of a sudden, it was not only just going from a 4 to a 1, but my body started functioning, and I could think, and I could remember, and I could do amazing things. It's just incredible to think about and talk about.
You got your life back. You got your brain
Yes,
back, your body back, your relationships back, your future. You got your future back. That is
yes.
so powerful. And again, the part that I love about your story is it was not a quick fix. This was experimenting. What's it? Carla's phrase again? You are you
The
are the science.
scientist.
Your body is the lab experiment. I love that. I absolutely love that. Carla, what do you have to say about that process of getting your husband back?
Well, it's interesting because when he talks about it, the kids came to me and said, "Is Dad having dementia?" And I said, "I don't know. It's bad." He'd repeat himself within a 10-minute period of time. He'd tell you something, you go, "You already told me that," or you'd tell him something, he goes, and he'd say, "You never told me that." And so we were really concerned. So it wasn't just all the things physically he was going through. We were seeing some mental things, and I remember one day when he came to me and he'd remembered something. He said, "Oh, now remember, you need to do this." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, your memory's now better than mine." And I think I have a pretty good memory. And he is, like I said, he's a walking miracle. It's to see him. I really thought I was going to be a widower. I mean, I really thought with the bladder cancer was the last thing. And the funny thing, when we got married 20 years ago, I was on this I was healthy. I love to cook. I'm a really healthy person. And he's eating massive amounts of sugar. And I am so sad. I didn't influence him. I went along with him. I started eating massive amounts of sugar. I started training with him for triathlon. So we were doing these massive, runs and swims and bikes. So you could eat whatever you wanted. So he's like, "You can eat whatever you want." I'm like, "Okay." And my kids, there's a part of the book where I say, "I'm more healthy than I was 10 years ago." And they go, "No way, Mom. You were way more fit 10 years ago." And I go, "I was more fit because we were doing the triathlons, but I'm healthier now." And what could we have accomplished if we would have been healthy while we were being fit doing triathlons?
Uh,
So,
I love your definition of healthy so much. I have a quote here from another podcaster that I have to read to you. It's not what your body looks like, it's how you feel in your body. That's the
right,
Yes.
exactly,
that's the definition
exactly.
of health. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And we're saying we want to help people achieve their optimal health, whatever that is for them, because everybody starts differently with genetics and damage you've already done. So there's only so much you can do, but whatever's optimal for you. So make it better no matter what it is for you. You can improve it. And one of the things we like to get across is that we put out lots of ideas. In fact, our book can be kind of overwhelming at times. And we just say to people, listen, just make a couple of changes. Just do a couple positive things. Change little things at a time. Over time, they will make a big difference.
Can I share one thing
Yeah.
that really was huge for us? Is Carla got me when we started down this path to journal. So she had what was called a food, mood, poop journal. And so I started journaling, and I told her I'd be 100%, because I was all in, I'd be 100% honest. And I was up fishing. I love to fly fish. And I was up at the Middle Provo above Heber, Utah. And coming through, there's this famous place called Dairy Queen. And my favorite thing is a German chocolate shake. So one day I'm complaining to Carla, my gut, and I'm in pain, and I'm sick, and I got diarrhea. And she goes, oh my gosh, what did you eat? I said, I don't know. And she goes right to the journal, pulls that page 2 days before. It says, oh my gosh, you stopped and got a shake. You knew better. And it was at that moment I had the proof, because remember, I'm an experiment, right? We're doing the science experiment on me. And I knew without a doubt, because I was completely pain-free. Everything's going good. I had that shake. I thought, I can cheat. I can have that shake. And 2 days later, I was sick and miserable.
And the problem is people can't remember 2 days later. That's why journaling becomes so important, because they think, what did I eat today? And it's typically not what you ate today. It's yesterday or the day before. It could even be 3 days.
And that's why we created an app that we just released 2 weeks ago. So on iOS, iPhone, and Android, you now can get the Eating to Live app and be able to track the food. We don't care about macros. You can track your pain, track your bowel movements, track your exercise, and then you start getting this information back on what, for your particular body, what is causing you pain and causing you problems.
That is awesome. So it's called Eating to Live. Is that right? The app?
Uh-huh.
Perfect. And we'll put it in the show notes below if you go to habitsforhumans.com. If you're listening to this on a podcast, just go to habitsforhumans.com and we'll put all these links in the show notes. Okay, I've got questions for both of you. Funny question. Let's do David first. What is an unusual habit or strange thing that you now love because you went through this experience?
Every time I have a bowel movement, I look at it and I record it to see if it is on a scale of 1 to 7, if it's where it's supposed to be. If not, I'm eating the wrong things.
Wow. Are you looking for, sorry to get granular here, but we're going to go here. Are you looking for like consistency, for color? Yep. What are you looking for?
It's soft. It's a long tail. It's smooth.
Or a snake.
A snake.
Dr. Oz has a great YouTube video on what your bowel movement should look like. He's done a great job. So if anybody wants to go look it up, Dr. Oz does a whole thing on exactly color, shapes, consistency, what your bowel movements are telling you.
And the reason being, Kim, is for me, I thought normal was to have a bowel movement every 3 to 4 days.
Ooh, okay.
And now every day, but I was so sick.
Yeah.
And that's not healthy when you...
But people don't even know that. Like people, when I talk to somebody, they say, well, how would I know something that I ate 3 days ago? And I say, well, you look at your bowel movement, and they go, well, I can go a week. And I go, oh, okay, let's start there. You're eating foods your body doesn't like, because if it does, it's working properly, you're going to have at least 1 to 2 bowel movements a day. I mean, children, think about it. Babies come out, you feed them, they poop. It's because that's what the digestive system is designed to do. As adults, we mess it up. And so we don't have that, that doesn't happen anymore. But when you start eating right, it starts happening like that again.
I have to, so I've been eating really clean as well. I eat mostly produce, some meat, but I stay out of anything processed. And I have to brag about my poop. I poop constantly.
That's what you're supposed to do. That's exactly what you're supposed to do.
Good job, Kim.
Yay! All right, Carla, same question to you. What's an unusual habit or strange thing that you now love because of this experience?
It's not in our book, but I love a red light. I have a red light that I stand in front of. Red light helps heal the mitochondria, so the cells, the really deep cells that really decide what our health is. And so every day I stand in front of a red light for 20 minutes. It's very weird, but I love it.
Is it just your face, or are we like full
I
frontal?
do the whole body. I get
Full
a full
frontal.
They have
Perfect.
all sizes, but I got a whole body one. And so I have a locked bathroom that I can go in, and I just stand in front of it. And yeah, it's really unusual, but I feel like my skin has improved. And that's what we find too. I mean, when people start eating better, I'm sure you saw that as you really eat clean, your skin improves. Well, red light helps with that too. So
I love it. I love these confessions here. David is tracking his poop and investigating it, and Carla is naked in front of a red light every day.
Exactly.
So love it. All right. So as we wrap things up, reminder that the goal of this podcast is to program your brain and your body to start instilling systems and habits, and in Carla and David's case, scientific experiments, which I love, into your daily life. It's not about what you know, it's about what you do, starting one very small step at a time. So our giveaway from our sponsor, Card Salad, go to habitsforhumans.com. If you're listening to this elsewhere, go to habitsforhumans.com and sign up on this podcast page for a free 7-day Eat Real Foods challenge. It's 7 days of recipes, done for you shopping lists, and meal planning is done for you for a week. And if you want to get the Eating to Live book, so generous of Carla and David to get that to you free, you're going to go to eatingtolive.com/ebook/HHP. Again, if you look at the show notes, those links will be in there for you. Our next guest is Becky Moeller and Nisha Woodhouse. They're going to talk to you about how to listen to your body and to heal from trauma. If you are working through trauma, they say that working with your body and listening to your body can give you wisdom you can't get in any other way. So I'm excited to hear about that as well. Thank you for joining us, David and Carla, and thanks to our listeners. This is Habits for Humans, the podcast that teaches you how to program your brain to maximize your potential. Remember that you can get the free week of meal planning from Card Salad. Just go to habitsforhumans.com and start your 7-day challenge today. Thank you again, David and Carla. That was awesome. And thank you for our listeners for a positive review. Thanks, everyone.